Welcome to the Raise Up Mindset podcast with your hosts, Charlie and Athena Grimm.
Thank you so much for joining us at this episode of the Raise Up podcast. I'm Athena, and Chelsea Heaton is joining me today. She is one of our leaders here at BAC who actually is overseeing the sales and dispatch team right now. So welcome, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And today we're talking about aligning revenue with real market needs. And so this is kind of the corner, like your wheelhouse area, where we're looking to pair stuff that's going on in our community with growing revenue. And one of those pieces has been bringing experiences to our customers, not just point A to point B transports or charter transports where they're just figuring it out and they're renting a car for 4 hours or whatever. And so you have been right in the middle of those whole product launch ideas and how it's been created, and then like wrapping up the North Pole Express. Mm-hmm. And so what are some things that you noticed about how we connected that piece of business to our local customers?
So, I think the one thing that we noticed throughout the whole process is just how it is constantly changing, which, honestly, it's kind of how our entire, our environment, our community is up here as well, is we're always changing with them. We learned different things that made the experience more enjoyable for people, and I think almost every night we were adding something different and just adapting to what people were really wanting to see. And they gave us some great ideas too, so it was definitely a good experience for us to have.
So what you're saying is you really received that feedback loop from the reviews that we received, from the people that taking the bus rides, and that's the key, is it's like staying curious, because you've never done this before.
Yeah.
And so we have an idea of how it could go based on our life experience, but then we roll the dice to see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that the one important thing that we did during this was having all of us be very heavily involved in it. I think I went on the tour at least 4 times. I even brought my kids. I had them give me some feedback as well and be like, what could we have done to make this a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more interactive. That's when we started adding in books and doing trivia and karaoke, all this, and just started spitballing ideas to make this very, fun and interactive for everybody that was involved.
Yeah, and I think there was never a time where somebody was like, oh, that was my idea and you changed it and now I'm mad.
No.
It was very much this open, free-flowing experience where we're all just, the goal is to make the experience as big as and as best as we can within this container.
Yeah, the key in this was definitely collaboration, and we all did it very effectively.
Yeah, and right down to you perfected the hot chocolate recipe.
I don't ever want to make hot chocolate again in my life.
Well, some things that I noticed too were this group of clients. We have so many different groups of clients. Mm-hmm. And this is definitely a group of clients that we want. They're happy, they're excited, they're open for something new, they're expecting to be given a dose of wonder, as opposed to a client who is stressed, who is already running late, or I learned that yes, this is this group of clients that are joining us for these types of experiences. They're just great people to be around. It's fun.
Yeah, for sure. And our team had a great time with it as well. It was definitely a good change of pace for, our CDL driver. That usually this is not the kind of group that he is getting on his bus. So he was very happy with the whole experience as well. He was like, I like this so much, and it was really nice to see like them kind of come out of their shell and be able to have a little bit more fun with these contracts.
Yes, that is another aspect that I did receive some amusement for. Absolutely. So with the whole experience piece in mind, like you kind of have an understanding now of like what the framework looks like to be duplicating this over and over and over again as we introduce new ideas. And there's a layer of safety, there's a layer of making sure that the customers' expectations are being met. Like, we're not going to say that we're going to give them hot chocolate and then we don't bring the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a no-go from the beginning. And what I also noticed is there was an aspect on the tour where we didn't tell them about a surprise thing that was going to happen. And that was a moment of like over delivering and making sure that we had some sort of little small secret little, oh, and by the way, like we're not telling them everything that they're going to get. They get a little surprise in there. So that was another takeaway that I noticed from that, is how can we work that into the experience?
Yeah, and I think that with that, we realized, throwing in that little surprise, it really did, kind of give the BAC going above and beyond for the people that came with us and got to experience that. And I do actually think that would be like, if we do have, while we're creating more of these experiences, if we could find a way to put like this like little secret surprise in there for people, that could be like one of our, how do I want to put that? That could be like our selling point.
Yes.
Be like, you never know what you're fully expecting.
Yes. I like that. Leave the curiosity loop open.
Yes.
Well, we have been imagining all kinds of things that we could be doing, but we know that one of the experiences that we were really connecting with in our region is the Iditarod race. And I don't think a lot of the listeners, some of them are from Alaska and might know the Iditarod. You've been to the Iditarod, you've been to the restart, and so for those who are not from Alaska, could you just share a little bit about what that activity is and why is it so important for us?
So I've gone a couple of times to the restart, and I will say it is a lot different than going down, to downtown Anchorage for the, unofficial start that they do. There's still a ton of people that are out there, and it's definitely, you're still cold. But, you get to see like all of the dogs getting ready. They're super hyped up. I don't know if it's like more of a sense of community, because that's all that you're out there for. It's not, going to see the vendors and do Ferrandi. It is going to see the ceremonial start that is like so important to Alaska and the story that we have. I know that when we went out there a few times, brought our snow machines out there and just met so many different people, like people that, we would have never have talked to before, but, everybody and anybody who lives in Alaska knows that like it's just one big community. And when it comes to these kind of events, you make the most unexpected friends.
You do. You never know who you're going to run into.
No. And you know what? There's a good chance you might not ever run into them again, but you had a great day with them.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, it just kind of reminded me of almost like a big tailgate party. And it's an all day thing. So even though you're pretty much watching the same thing over again, it's just like a kind of like almost like a big community party that you're attending.
Yeah, like a block party almost.
Yeah.
And so this is an area where we know it's cold. Mm-hmm. We can bring a bus. We can drive you out there. We have a bathroom on board. And some of the things that we've done in the past is like hot soup and hot chocolate or hot apple cider. Okay. But like imagining you're going to this place and the bus is going to be there for 6 hours with you. You're floating around, but you can go warm up. You have a place to use the bathroom that your butt's not going to stick to because it's cold. And so that's just a very simple way where we can show up and just be like supporting.
Oh, absolutely. And I will say that the bathroom is a huge selling point when you're out there, because nobody wants to not use a warm bathroom when you're out at the start. Because, if you think Anchorage is cold, just go a little bit north.
Yeah, I live north of Anchorage, so it's been a bit chilly. And so for those of you who are listening, this is just a practical thing that that we've noticed about how we can just fill a gap where it's a casual party, but it's almost like a festival without vendors. Mm-hmm. And there's those areas or those things that can come up in your area where, gosh, how can I just show up for that block party and my vehicle's there or my service is there and my logo's just kind of hanging out as like, oh yeah, they were in the background. They were making sure that we were taken care of. Or there's some people that they choose to have a couple cocktails, and that's like a no-brainer. You don't need to worry about anything.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because like I said, definitely like a block party, little tailgate action. There's definitely people that are going to be coming out there that, maybe they just need a ride there. They need a ride back. Because it is a little bit of a far drive. And I feel like a lot of people go to the ceremonial start in Anchorage because they don't want to go out that far. But I mean, if you have somebody that's driving you, then it makes a big difference.
And there's these little add-ons around it, like soup and cocoa and bathroom and warm car and little whatever snack treats. It just is like, oh, I'm totally taken care of. Let's just do it and just all hang out together. It's good. Well, there was an interesting story that you were going to mention about the Iditarod in 2024. Can you just explain what the race is actually for those who don't know what the Iditarod or the restart and all that is and why it's even here?
Okay, so I do know that the Iditarod, it originally was a vaccine run that they were doing out to Nome. I think it was 700 miles or something like that. But it was back in 1900s. I know that they started doing the official Iditarod in the 70s. But it's and it's just in remembrance of being able to get on the hard work that they took to get those vaccines out to these villages during the harsh weather, because if not, it wasn't going to get to these people, and that would have been tragic.
And it's really celebrating the sled dog, the sled dogging community. Yeah. And how that is used as transportation in some regions of our state.
Mm-hmm. And it still is in some areas. But yes, there was a story from a couple of years ago regarding a moose. So with the Iditarod, there is a rule that if there is any, probable cause to essentially,
dispatch a wild game animal.
Yes. That you are supposed to, can I say butcher?
Well, you have to gut it. I
know you have to gut it and field dress it.
Yes, and that is Rule 34 in the Iditarod.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't think that would be a thing, but being out in the wilderness in the last frontier, mushers don't just encounter harsh weather and darkness, and there's animals.
Oh yeah.
And ice, and it's I can't even imagine. It takes a special human to want to run that race.
Yeah, and so I mean, this person ended up having to take down this moose and to protect his dogs. So he did have probable cause.
Well, I think the moose actually got entangled in the animals. like in the lead.
Yeah, and I
something
know
like
that one of the dogs got injured and actually was flown back to Anchorage to receive vet care. But yes, you were supposed to gut and field dress them. Well, apparently he didn't do it well enough. And he did get penalized for it. Because the whole point of it is that, you want to make sure that the meat's not going to be wasted. That's a huge thing here in Alaska is, we don't waste things, especially when it comes to larger game.
Yeah, well, that's one thing is there's this reverence for the animals.
Yes.
And in the Arctic, though, if it doesn't fully get gutted, like the carcass will freeze.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little bit less of a problem than it would be in the summertime. So I was really interested. It was interesting to me to understand that that was even a rule when you're like clearly working to like win this race.
I find it interesting that they can even make a decision of like, hey, you didn't do it good enough.
I know, it's like, so
how do you make that determination?
Like all the organs have to be removed, or like what? I mean, but then I'm curious to understand. Like I'd never even heard of something like this happening, where a musher got penalized for not thoroughly like dressing out the animal while they're in the middle of the Iditarod race. Mm-hmm. So that is just crazy. Mm-hmm. But it ended up working out for him.
Yeah, he still won.
Yeah. And the do you remember how many hours he was penalized for?
2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I feel like it wasn't even like that doesn't even feel like a big bite,
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like this note of, well, it is Rule 34 and we need to follow it, kind of a thing. But yeah, I'm glad that he won, but the like what in the world must have been going through his mind, like dealing with that, going through the whole my dog is injured, I'm freezing my butt off.
Yep.
And I'm like on track to win this thing, and boom. And leading himself through that will definitely be a conversation that would be interesting to hear down the road. Sure. And I don't think that particular musher was very old at that time.
I don't think so. And I think, isn't he still racing?
I think so. So he was 37. Well, he was older than I thought he was. Yeah. So 37. So not even still, like it's something to just imagine the whole scenario and you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they're not running in pairs. They're like trying to compete against each other. So that was something. Well, aligning revenue with real market needs in your area is definitely something to consider. It's something that we've considered. How can we partner with some of these needs or gaps that are in our area? And also, who are the customers that we're meeting in those gaps? If the customers are not the customers that you want, then you can't just move on. We've had our share of customers that we did not appreciate. And you don't always know that from the jump.
No.
You just learn over time, and the amount of energy and just maybe even mental anguish that happens when you're servicing or working with people that are not aligned feels like such a dense, heavy lift compared to people who are taking the North Pole Express.
Yes, definitely.
And so that is something to just consider when you're looking at other revenue streams or other things. This is just one aspect of what we were doing, or what we have been up to rather. And Chelsea, could you share just some of the steps that you used to communicate to your team to help customers even like book this experience? Like, what guidance did you give your staff? Because this was new to them as well.
Yeah, so I mean, going into it with a very positive energy and just kind of, us being excited about it as well. If we're excited about it, it makes other people excited about it. And then, I mean, obviously there's like, oh, and we have these perks and this is what we're doing. And, just making it feel like it's more than just a bus ride. Yes. Reminding them like, hey, this is an interactive experience, and you're going to have somebody that's your host the whole way through, and we're going to have decorations, and you're going to have hot cocoa, you're going to have cookies, you're going to stop at a bakery. Just making sure that they know that, like, we're just as excited about this. That was one of the biggest things, even when I was communicating with my team and sending out emails and just being like, hey, like, what's the easiest way to, and I don't want to say like, sell this to a person, but kind of sell the experience to the person. And that is just making sure that you do have this positive energy that is around it. We're not just doing like a simple booking. We are selling an experience. And just conveying that experience, like painting a picture. You had to paint a picture for your team so they could paint a picture for the customer. Yeah, and we had a couple of team members from my team that even went on this, and they were like, this is so much more than what we were expecting. And they had a great time, gave us 5-star reviews, and they were like, I had such a good time. And yeah, so I mean, and it was nice having people go that like they weren't working this event. They just wanted to go because they wanted to go and see what we were doing. Right. And they had a fantastic time. So I think that that's another important part, is letting people see what we are actually putting out there. Yeah. And letting them enjoy it with us, because then that, it's no longer like trying to keep that uplifting. It's like, no, I've actually gone and done this. Yes. And I think that's an important piece for selling it. Absolutely. And that's something to consider for future experiences. Yeah. It's like the staff need to be able to go on, watch videos, whatever it is, to just get the full experience themselves, so that they can provide the information outside of a script. But I think you did also provide some scripts. I did, yes. And so how were those received? Pretty well. It helped us get some of our VIP packages sold with things as well. I do think that, us talking to people on the phone, because I check the bookings like pretty religiously every day. And at first I was like, okay, I think we're gonna do, it might be a little bit smaller of an outcome this year because it's our first year. And then it just started, like, they just kept coming in, and I was like, okay. I was like, first, I think that I went on a couple of the heaviest nights, and I was like, all right, yep, this is more than I was expecting, but I will also gladly take it. Yes. And I like those pleasant surprises for sure. And that just kind of, I think, maybe showed you like, oh wow, this idea is really going to take flight. And there's so many things that we can just create. And one of the aspects of creating it is the morale that came with the rest of the team. Oh, yeah. Creating ideas and adding like, oh, I think we should add this and this. And some of the stuff that was just so small, like you had to go get a bunch of books, what were those, like How to Write a Letter to Santa or something? Yeah, it was just a variety of different Christmas books, but honestly, people really enjoyed that. I know we learned on the first night that, doing a movie on the way back wasn't exactly, everybody was kind of tired when we were watching the movie. So then the next night we were like, no, we're going to do karaoke on the way back. And sure enough, we had people that were singing with us. I think the most popular song that we had, though, was probably Golden, which I thought was hilarious, because I was like, this is not a Christmas song, but I guess it is this year. Well, those are, what is that, K-pop Demon Slayers? Yeah. Yes. So, we did have quite a bit of kids on, so. All the adults were singing with us too. Well, it's because they have children. Yes. Like, my kids were back in the Frozen days. I heard that song so many times. So we all get our little theme song for those children, depending on their age. Very much so. But, those are just things to, like, note. The morale that lifted the team was like something that I just really noticed. Not just the fun of, and so it was like, who doesn't want to do work like that? Where the team is happy, the clients are happy,
some people are singing, they're having a good time. It's like showing up for a party at work. And yeah, you have a little bit of prep, but if it was your party, you'd be cleaning your house before everyone showed up anyway. You know what I mean? So that's what I look at, is it's like we're just going to have like this rolling party, these amusements that happen throughout the whole year, and we're just going to see how many people we can smile. And I think for Christmas, for just that segment that we did with the North Pole Express, we served like, what was it, 200 and some people? But yeah, it was so good. Well, you've been here for quite a while now working at BAC, yes. And I know you've seen a lot of shifts and turns as you have been here. So what is it that you have noticed about how constant change is in your leadership role here? What I mean by that is we shift a lot.
Oh, yes.
Because there's always stuff happening. And we have opportunities that come up, and then we have opportunities that shift, and then we have, it's kind of a rolling joke on how things just continue to evolve and change. And it takes special individuals who can be in that atmosphere on a regular. And I know you've seen some people that they can't handle that and they leave. Yep. And so for me, this is the world that I want to create, is just variety and just keep changing it and shifting it like you did in the Polar Express, where we just want to make it better. Like so you being here, what has that meant for you, seeing how we just were rolling with different things? Has it felt heavy? Has it felt interesting? I
would say it definitely is. I would lean more towards the interesting side of it. Now, I will say that, transitioning over to, and yeah, making these shifts, there's always some kind of stress that comes with it. But like we had mentioned earlier, sometimes we have clients that are not aligned with us, and then we're moving towards ones that are. I think that this stress is it's a good stress. Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces, and we're trying to get everything together, even if it is kind of last minute. But it's not the bad stress. It's not the one that, you just you feel like you just have this weight on your shoulders. Instead, it's this exciting stress where you're just oh, we got to get this done, and we want to make this the best possible thing for these people. We want to deliver something that they're going to truly enjoy. So I would say I have enjoyed this part of the experience for sure. And I also think that it has helped with kind of opening up my mind towards, other things that I'm going to be able to do. It definitely has brought me out of my comfort zone, which I have appreciated, because if you had asked me to do this a couple of months ago, I probably would have looked at you and been like, no.
And you would have missed out on all this fun, and all this information.
Yeah. No, and I've appreciated the changes that we've been making, because it's not so much on this. I don't want to say not on this. It is on a business level, but it's more of the enjoyment side of things.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy hospitality and being able to have fun with things, because most people want to love their jobs, and I love being able to interact with people and making them smile. Even if it's just being goofy and wearing a Santa hat and dancing down the bus aisle. Which, by the way, walking on a bus while it's moving is not easy, especially when you're serving hot chocolate.
I can imagine.
I learned how these ladies are feeling on these airplanes. But yeah, it's completely different than, having to deal with the bad stress side of things.
And so when you say bad stress, that's having a customer that's deregulated, or something along those lines, where it's you can't seem to connect the two for some reason.
Yeah, or it's, if there's like last minute changes that, we need to be like there just like that. And we're like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
I have limited resources, so I need you to work with me. And then sometimes people don't want to work with you.
And they're rude.
Exactly. And whereas with this whole experience, we haven't encountered anybody that's been rude to us. Now, yeah, there's been a couple of people that, maybe they were expecting a little bit more, which is totally fine. You're going to find that with anything that you do. And then, what we can do on our side is try and make it right in a way that is going to be beneficial to both parties.
Yes. I think that's definitely something to notice, is balancing your workload with, if you have to work with those customers who can create some of that denser stress, that you balance it with these other customers who are really stacking that positive, like vibe onto your team. And I think, that is absolutely, if that's something that you don't have incorporated in your business, then that might be something to think about. Or if that's not something that is part of your book of business, how can you lighten the load for your team, especially if you know you're in a season where business is heavy. You've got a very demanding customer and you're still in the learning curve and you're trying to figure it out and do the right thing. And it's how do you bring some levity to the team? And amusement, in my opinion, is always the answer.
Yes. I've definitely enjoyed that part of it.
Well, do you have any final thoughts about any of this, like capitalizing on opportunities in our region for new revenue streams? Or any words of encouragement for others who are either leading a staff and they're trying something new and they're not sure if it's going to work out, or they're in a season where it just feels like, oh my gosh, this is not fun?
I mean, I would honestly say, as far as, if you're going to try something new, just try it out and have fun with it. If it doesn't end up working out, then you've learned.
And you can change your mind.
Exactly. Because I know that with this whole thing, with us rolling it out, when we were just like, it could have gone either way. Thankfully, it went in a very positive direction.
Yes, but it might have felt like it could have gone either way, but it was like we were all in it. So
yeah,
bringing the gifts that we have, even if one of them was perfecting the cocoa recipe.
Thankfully, I got a lot of compliments on that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for spending a little bit of time here at the podcast and just giving some insight to others who are like, what is this whole thing about? And then also shedding some leadership perspective on what you've noticed when you were leading your team through this new change and like upgrade into the offering. So thank you so much for coming. And if you have an opportunity and you have not seen season 1 yet, you can go to raiseupmindset.com. We are now absolutely looking to host other guests on the podcast. So if these are topics that resonate with you and you're interested, by all means, send us a DM on any of the social media platforms that you are on and let us know. So till next time, thank you.